Welcome to GBIC Relationship University, the Relationship Problems channel, where we find relationship solutions and get better together. Let's get right into the topic. Folks, for many people, Christmas is all about the extravagant holiday parties, the home light shows, the gifts for everyone under the big Christmas tree, and all that can come with immense social pressure. For some people, more than others. And sometimes, there is a mental, emotional, and psychological cost that we don't care to talk about. Being in the third quarter of my life, being divorced, my children being all grown up and out of the crib and on their own, and now I'm living as an empty nester. I'm loving every minute of it. I have realized something very powerful this year. I am no longer under the same social pressure to perform Christmas in the way I once did. And for me, personally, that has been freeing and liberating. And it is even more beautiful that I no longer have to be wishy-washy about my beliefs, values, customs, and traditions any longer. In general, at all, to please anyone else. This is one of the greatest gifts of becoming single and enduring the individuation journey. You can build a life to your own specifications. A life that is not based on any societal pressures. That is based on our culture, parental conditioning, family dynamics, religion, friend groups, or any organizations whatsoever. Don't get me wrong. I still love Christmas. 'Tis the season. 'Tis the season to be jolly. Fa la 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 la. I still love Christmas. But I choose to recognize it around more so of church celebration, not societal materialism and commercialism any longer. At least not this year. I have decided that I am no longer obligated to seek affirmation, validation, or appreciation from anyone through spending money that I don't have on Christmas shopping. I am no longer trying to buy love from anyone on any level at this season of my life. I have personally decided to opt out of participating in this materialism and commercialism of Christmas. I may do it another year. Who knows? If my financial situation change, maybe, who knows? I may become a millionaire one day. But I don't know, but that's not today. I have some great mentors that I've had over the course of my life journey. And I listen to what those mentors have imparted onto me. One of those mentors, particularly over the last 10 years, he would preach to me. I still have him in my head on many occasions when I need to make financial decisions. He said, G, make sure you're acting your age and your wage. Your current age and your wage. What is my current age and my wage in this Christmas season? So, I have decided in this Christmas season, based on my financial situation and circumstances, which is I'm broke, I will no longer be buying gifts for anyone during this holiday. But that's my personal decision. That's where I'm at this point in my life. I don't know if my circumstances will change down the line. Like I said, maybe I hit a lick and I'll become a millionaire. I'll have a big blow up and glow up, and I'll be balling out of control one day, and it'll be gifts. I don't do all the holiday shopping, but over the years traditionally I stopped doing all that. But I'll at least put some money in the car and I'll get gift cards. Money and gift cards for the whole nuclear clan, for everybody. But it ain't this year. And that's my personal decision. I am not preaching to you. that it has to be your personal decision. For me, it is about becoming more aware of how Christmas over the years has costed me financially. I have spent many years with each Christmas trying to be somewhere that I was not, spending money that I really didn't have. Of course, I get it. There is that gravitational pull from what I call the social machine. That social machine is very powerful surrounding particularly this holiday season. Especially, I get it, especially those that have young children. There is that peer pressure on the parental level to spend money that you don't have on buying presents for those kids. How many Christmases did I spend a few $1,000s on presents? Usually not cash. I'm burning them credit cards, throwing down the plastic on everyone. Then I'm spending the entire next year, that following year, trying to pay down that credit card debt. And guess what? Folks, I never really found a financial stride during the year in which I paid all of that money off. Because one way or the other, I'll be honest, transparent, candid, and revealing always on my channel. I was always financially unmanageable and always in a perpetual cycle of playing catch up. Financially, I was always in crisis mode. Either I was paying bills late or in many cases not paying them at all. Especially those credit cards. The credit cards were always the last priority. They were always last on the totem pole. Catch me if you can. Some would end up getting paid in partial, maybe partially. Some would not end up getting paid at all. They would become delinquent. And then guess what happens? Well, most of us, by the time you're in this age and stage in the third quarter, you should know what happens by now. They become delinquent. Then they go to collections. And then again, like, oh well, catch me if you can. And then once again, we'll just block the numbers. We'll block those 1-800 numbers. I'm not home. Then once again, here comes December, all over again. And the vicious cycle of the spending money you don't have starts all over again. This is some of the ways in which we stay in this vicious cycle of debt. And I lived that way for over 20 years of my adult life. And I used all of the rationalizations and justifications over those 20 years. Let me tell you what some of them were. Of course, we have to partake in Christmas because everyone else is participating in the holiday. And we know how cruel kids can be in school regarding these peer pressures. Of course, we had to partake in the workplace gift giving because we needed to assimilate and look like we are being a team player. Surely, we have to at least partake in the Yankee swap and bring gifts for everyone to the annual holiday party. Of course, we need to buy that new girlfriend or boyfriend a gift for the holiday. And if he or she has kids, well, it would look just downright suspect if you don't buy him or her kids something too. And if he or she has a tribe of kids, that's getting in your pockets. And then if you met the parents over the holidays, now you got a rapport with them. Oh, you're really in the hole. You're really in the hole now. See how the social pressure can spiral out of control? the national anthem of my 20s. Another mentor always told me, always, but he instilled this in my spirit. Gee, I live the way I live because of how I lived. That's what I impart onto you today. I live the way I live today because of how I lived. I've gone through a whole lot. I have a whole lot of humility in my life today, through a whole lot of humiliation. And the national anthem of my 20s was that YOLO life. I was all about the YOLO life. You only live once lifestyle. Acronym YOLO. YOLO. You only live once. Life's a bitch, then you die. You might as well just live it up and blow it up today. Popping bottles, making it rain, throwing money, blowing money. You only got one life, you might as well just live it up. And then you get to the third quarter and you realize, oh, there was money, resources you squandered. Ooh-wee! Boy, did that mentality have me so caught up for a long time in my adult life. By the time I had become conscious, aware, and woke at around 35 regarding the financial trouble I was in, I found myself in debt to the tune of $50,000 and having to file bankruptcy, which only took care of half of that debt. That's a long story. That's another video on financial literacy. This is GBIC Relationship University. I will talk about relationships that we should be having with our finances. That's a long story. Another video. I had to pay back over the other half of that money over several years, incrementally. And everything that went along with that jackpot, the shame, the guilt, and the remorse that came with that arduous process of just getting back to zero. Because I was always operating at the negative. I had to do all this work just to get back to nothing. But it was in that process that I was introduced to financial literacy. The Most High God connected me with a financial counselor through the church that I attended. Because I started going back to church at that time. She met me. She met with me at my home. I call it, this is the signpost in my life that I talk about of divine intervention and those mentors that come in your life for your ascension. We gathered all of my bills and paperwork. She tallied the numbers. She took a side and she said, G, your net worth is negative $50,000. There was something about that net worth term that really pierced my heart and soul. The term net worth, your net worth, it just cut me. I felt so small, worthless. I didn't know what to do. Where do I go from here? She said we make the climb back to zero. And then we can make moves from zero. So from there, she schooled me. She said that I had to stop paying close attention to how I spent money and begin to start having a healthy, intimate relationship with my money. And I was like, oh. I always, up to that point, equated intimacy with sex. And I know she saw that expression in my eyes. She saw my expression when she made that statement. So she clarified the statement of intimacy for me. She said, G, intimacy is having a feeling of closeness and connection with a person, place, or thing. It does not have to be sexual. She said, G, you can't build intimacy with your finances if you don't take time to know how finances truly work. You will never have a stable life if you are constantly spending your hard-earned money on things that you really don't need, trying to impress people that you don't even know. And do you even know, by the way, who you are? as a human being, who you really are. Because who we believe we are and how we feel about ourselves generally affect how we spend our money. I said, ooh, that's deep. That's deep. And that question was the beginning of the work on myself in many areas, not just in holistically. Who am I? But particularly as we're talking about finances today in relation to the holiday season, in the area of finances, this truly began the individuation process in the area of my finances. For many families, the last 2 months of the year are the most expensive time of the year because they are trying to keep up with the pressures of financing the holiday season while also trying to keep up with their bills and keeping the roof over their head. Most feel the financial strain because of the perceived duty and obligation. Operative term is perceived duty and obligation. If they do not measure up to the duty and obligation, this usually presents a host of guilt, stress, and even depression. I've been there. In the 2025 holiday season, this season, even though everything going on in this world, everything going on socially, politically, economically, in the direction, the state of the world that we live in today, the data shows that the average household is expected to spend an average of around $1,600 this year on Christmas presents. That's $1,600. I don't know about you, but for me, $1,600 ain't pocket change. That's rent money. That's food money. That's car payment money. That's emergency savings fund money. That's investment money. That's pay off debt money. And most importantly, that's peace of mind money. Protect your peace. And guess what? If you decided not to pay your bills, those collection calls don't just stop. And they won't stop just because it's the holiday season. The pressure to buy the right gift. The pressure to host the perfect dinner and gala event and gathering. The pressure to create that perfect picture video moment in order to style, profile, and flex on social media. Psh. Wait. Let me tell you, behind the scenes, what people go through, what they don't tell you, that this can be very draining and downright exhausting. And most of us are not even in a place financially to keep up with that baller lifestyle. But most of us will not admit this, not to ourselves and dare not to anyone else. And as a result of trying to keep up with the Joneses, I done declared many years ago, the Joneses win. The Joneses win. The Joneses win. I'm good. And everybody's still trying to keep up with the Joneses that ain't got it like that. And guess what? Some people end up feeling very stressed out. Very behind financially, stressed out financially, very inadequate financially, very tense and anxiety-ridden financially, very discouraged financially, very ashamed financially, and generally very worried financially. And worry is a silent killer. And we rarely talk about it, not even with our closest confidants. or the people close in our inner circle. Instead, we stay in isolation, scrolling through social media, which can engulf you in a wave of depression. Your psyche telling you that you don't measure up, which can send you in deeper in a heap of despair if you are not careful. Because before you know it, you have been scrolling for hours, unconsciously comparing your life to everybody else's life. And now you're on the pity pot, telling yourself how shitty your life is in comparison to everyone else's. And social media has a way of making it look like everyone else is just balling out of control. Like everyone else on the planet is living their best life. The truth of the matter is, we need to always be careful of comparing ourselves to one person's snapshot in time. You never know what that person or that place or that thing or that family or whatever, what they had to go through, how much money they had to spend, how much debt they are in, or what relational turbulence they went through. And not to mention how many retakes of that photo or video it took just to capture that seemingly perfect moment that you see in their newsfeed. So, folks, this video, this episode right here, isn't about blaming or shaming Christmas. We ain't bashing Christmas. It ain't about all that for our financial situations and circumstances. Because after all, we're all grown-ups. We always have to take accountability for how we are adulting or not adulting. But two things can be true at the same time. This is all about acknowledging that something meaningful can still be extremely stressful. And something nostalgic can still be extremely costly if you are not aware, conscious, and woke. You do not have to feel guilty if you are feeling overwhelmed at this time of the year. You do not have to pretend like everything is okay. It is okay not to be okay at this time of the year for whatever reason. And you do not have to measure your worth by how much you spend. You do not have to buy anyone's love just because it's Christmas. Just because society tries to subliminally tell you directly and indirectly that your worth is measured by your participation in this holiday doesn't mean that you have to participate. You can wave the white flag. I can tell you about my white flag. Wave the white flag of surrender. Let go. Surrender. Protect your peace. Protect your paper. Protect your peace. And this is GBIC, Relationship University. We are growing tribe, the school of higher learning as it relates to relationships, all relationships. So we will always discuss the ways in which unmanageability in the area of finances will have a negative impact on our relationships if we are not careful. Mismanagement of finances will have a negative impact on our relationships with our romantic partners. I talk about this on one of my first, I think that is my second video, in the 90-day rule of prospective dating. I juxtaposed it with the narcissists, with those narcs, but it relates to prospective dating in general. Are you aligned in this area financially in terms of how you approach these holidays? Are you aligned in general financially? Have you had extensive dialogue, concerning your spending habits. Wherever that's with your prospective boo or your boo, your soon-to-be boo, whether you marry or whatever. Because if you're not aligned in this area, it will. It will. Not if, not might, not maybe, it will cause conflict in your relationships. Our marriages. Let me take a sip on this one. Call me Exhibit A. Finances was a huge part in my marriage of our relational conflict over the course of our marriage. We could not get on the same page financially. That's a whole nother video, whole long story. Our parenting also, which is in direct correlation with marriage. Whether you're married with children or you're not married. But that was in direct correlation with our children as well. We just could not get on the same page and be aligned and be on one accord in the area of our finances, and it permeated in a negative way throughout our whole relationship. It will cause conflict in terms of how you parent your children as well, because you're just not on the same page. Our relationships with our children. We are the first influence in how we are modeling financial behavior in front of our children in terms of our relationship with money and how we handle money. What we are teaching our children, what are we teaching them as they grow up? Are we instilling good habits or bad habits in the presence of our children when it comes to money management? I'm learning all of this in retrospect, right along with you. I can admit I didn't have great habits. I didn't show them. I was showing them that YOLO life. In retrospect, now I know better. I wish I had done better. But it's never too late to make a pivot and practice new behaviors. Conflict over finances are relationship killers in general. We have to have effective and extensive dialogue with people, whether it's family, friends, or romantic partners, and even our children, as to our clear position regarding this holiday. I told you, I sent my nuclear family, I sent all the kids and everybody, even my ex-wife and everybody, I sent them a text, wishing them a happy holiday and everything, but I'm not doing Christmas like that this year. I don't have it like that. And I don't have to go into everything on the platform regarding my finances, but to just tie it up and put it in a bow. I don't have it like that this year, and I'm not trying to be somewhere I'm not. And I communicated that to everybody, and there's a reason why. Don't be wishy-washy about your position. If you choose not to participate in the materialism and commercialism of the holiday season, be sure to clearly communicate it to everyone in your orbit this way. You are not leaving things up to everyone else's speculation and assumptions. After all, you know what the old saying is about assuming, right? Yeah, assuming. You know how people assume? They start speculating, start drawing their own conclusions, they start assuming. What does assuming do? What's the acronym? You make an ass out of you and me. And then people stop. They'll call you cheap. So what? Big deal. Let people call you cheap. People say you're being rigid. So what? Let them call you rigid. People say you're being something, whatever, to the extent of being antisocial. So what? Let them call you whatever they need to call you. Because when you come to the fact that this life is your show, and you are the star of your show, you will not be consumed with what everyone else thinks about the decisions that you are making in your lane. Because you are the one paying for your lane. Tell everyone else to stay the hell in their own lane. Tell them to kick rocks if they don't like it with no shoes on. The most expensive part of Christmas is not always the price tag. Oftentimes, it is at the expense of your peace, your energy, your mental and emotional health, your sense of self-esteem and self-worth. And if Christmas is supposed to feel meaningful, but it is instead making you feel burdened and costing you your sanity, well, you may need to reevaluate how you are celebrating this holiday season. Next week, in part 2, we will talk about the emotional and relational cost of Christmas. In closing, the pressure to spend all that paper that you don't have is real. It is real societal pressure. I get it. I've been there. I used to say that I could always get money back. I could always get my paper back. But that's not true today. I can't get out there and work 100 hours a week to recoup money that I squandered. If you're in the third quarter like me, you can relate. You can identify. You can't work 40 hours extra overtime. Your body and your mind and your heart and your spirit just won't let you grind like that any longer. So I am in the third. I'm very careful as to what, where, when, why, and how in which I'm allocating my finances, my money, my time, and my resources. Most importantly, I have learned, especially, I cannot get back time. I wish I was more in touch with that in my youth. My time at this season is way more expensive than my paper. My time is the most precious commodity that I have going today. And I choose to spend my money and my time doing things today that equate to having the most consistent peace possible. If you were anything like me, haven't you squandered enough money, time, and peace in this life? Giving your money, time, and peace to people, places, and things that are not serving your highest good. This video, again, isn't about rejecting Christmas. Nor is this message about telling anyone how to celebrate Christmas. It's about taking deep inventory and making an honest assessment. Honest about how it may be affecting you beneath the surface. And affecting you in a way that can be very costly at this season of your life. So continue being the best version of yourself today, and then getting even better tomorrow. Feel, deal, heal, protect your peace. Have a happy, healthy, and prosperous holiday season. Be blessed, everyone.